Hi friends, today we are going to talk about the primary colors of light. You might have heard that the primary colors of light are red, green, and blue. These are special because they are the fundamental building blocks of all the colors we see. When we mix them in different ways, they create almost every color our eyes can perceive. But here's something interesting: there is no such thing as white light on its own. Similarly, colors like magenta and orange don't have their own specific wavelengths. Now you might be wondering, if there's no wavelength for white or magenta, then how do we see them? The answer lies in how our brain processes colors. Our eyes have three types of color receptors called cones, each sensitive to red, green, or blue light. When all three types of cones are stimulated equally, our brain interprets it as white. It's not because white has its own wavelength, but because our brain creates the perception of white when it receives a balanced mix of red, green, and blue. The same happens with magenta. If you look at the visible spectrum, you won't find a wavelength for magenta. That's because magenta is not a single wavelength of light, it's something our brain creates when it detects both red and blue light together but no green. Our brain fills in the gap and makes us perceive magenta even though no single light wave corresponds to it. In reality, there are only 7 main colors in the visible spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, each with a specific wavelength. These are the colors that naturally exist in the spectrum of light. Any other colors we see, including white and magenta, are just how our brain interprets combinations of these wavelengths. So the next time you see white light, remember that it's not actually a color with its own wavelength, but a mix of all the colors combined. And when you see magenta, it's not in the spectrum, it's just your brain filling in the gaps. Light is truly fascinating, and our brain plays a huge role in how we perceive it. I hope you found this explanation interesting. Stay curious and keep learning.